in the quiet sector of Varys 9, inside a dusty old outpost called Station Rollo 7. An alien named Keln was sitting alone at the control desk. His long fingers moved lazily across the screen as he sipped a bright blue drink. The station was small, forgotten by most of the galaxy. Nothing important ever happened there. Outside, space was calm. Inside, Keln was bored. Suddenly, the lights blinked red. A soft alarm buzzed on the console. Incoming pirate ship detected. Keln's eyes widened. He dropped his drink and tapped the warning screen. Pirates, here, again? The station had no real weapons, just one old turret and a shield that barely worked. Keln wasn't a soldier. He was a data technician, and he knew he couldn't stop a pirate ship alone. He opened the emergency comm system and clicked the distress signal button. He chose the strongest frequency available, Galactic Wide Emergency Beacon. A small box popped up. Are you sure you want to broadcast this signal? It will reach outer sectors. Keln hesitated. Outer sectors? Who even lives out there? He shrugged and pressed yes. The signal was sent. 10 minutes later, the pirate ship scanned the station, saw the shield activate, and simply turned away. It didn't even attack. Keln sighed in relief and leaned back in his chair. False alarm. He had no idea what he had just done that far away, too far for normal ships to hear. The signal reached a place not shown on any galactic map. A dark region of space. Silent. Empty. Except for one ship. Massive. Covered in black metal. No lights. No windows. Its engines had not fired in years. But as soon as the signal touched its receiver, the ship woke up. Lights blinked. Systems activated. Internal machines began to move. A deep voice echoed from the ship's AI core. Signal. Emergency Type 7. Origin. Council territory. Response required. Another voice. This one human spoke through a small, dusty speaker inside the warship. Prepare to deploy. Back in the Council's capital world, a technician named Ressa watched a blinking signal on her screen. It was an old transmission coded in a language not used for centuries. She frowned. Where is this coming from? She ran a scan. Her eyes widened. Terran encryption. Her partner laughed. Terrans? Come on, they disappeared ages ago. But Ressa didn't laugh. She zoomed in on the signal's path. It came from Station Rollo 7, a useless outpost near pirate space. And the reply? It wasn't a message. It was a movement. Something big was coming. Keln was still cleaning up his spilled drink when his screen blinked again. This time, the station's long-range scanner lit up with warnings. Unidentified object detected. Size, unknown. Speed, extreme. Origin, unclear. The object dropped out of faster-than-light travel and entered orbit around the moon near RALO-7. It was huge. Black. Silent. No reply to hails. No energy signature. But it was there. Watching. Kellane tapped the emergency line. Council command. This is Rollo 7. There's a ship here. It just appeared. The reply was cold. Do not engage. Do not communicate. Stay inside. But what is it? Static. No answer. Keln looked up at the sky. The stars were gone, blocked by the shape of the ship. In the eye. Council's war chamber, commanders argued. This must be a trick. No Terran ship should still be active. Maybe it's just a probe. Maybe it's not even them. Then a voice from the shadows spoke. It was General Varn, old and forgotten, pulled from retirement for this emergency. He said one word. Run. Everyone turned to him. You think it's real? A young captain asked. Varn nodded slowly. You don't summon Earth, not even by accident. If that signal reached them, then you've just told the galaxy's worst mistake to come back. And Earth was coming. Not with greetings. Not with talks. But but with the kind of silence that only comes before a storm. Asterisk, the stars over Rallo 7 disappeared. The black ship that entered orbit above the moon didn't just block the sky, it swallowed it. No lights blinked from the hull. No sound came from its engines. It moved like a shadow with purpose. Kelm, still locked inside Station Rallo 7, stared at the scanner screen. It showed only one word: unknown. He tried to scan the ship again. Nothing. His tools didn't work on it. It was as if the ship didn't exist, but it was there. And more were coming. Far across the sector, other council stations began reporting the same thing. Dark shapes appearing from nowhere. No comms. No identity codes. Just warships arriving in perfect silence. First 1, then 4. Then 20. Then hundreds. All with the same markings, faded but unmistakable. A silver ring. A blue planet in the center. Earth. On the capital world of Terra. Panic began. Council members filled the grand chamber. Holoscreens floated in the air, each showing a different feed, each from a different star system. Same pattern. Massive. Black ships arriving. No warnings. No threats. Just presence. They haven't attacked someone. Sighed, shaking. Maybe they just want peace. No, replied General Varn, standing at the edge of the chamber. This isn't a negotiation. He raised a shaking hand and pointed at the screens. They aren't broadcasting. They aren't explaining. They're watching. That's how Terrans start a war. Counselor Lin asked, but we didn't attack them. We just sent a signal. Varn turned toward her. You called them, he said. And when Earth is called, it answers. At a military base near the edge of council space, fighter ships scrambled into the air. Brave pilots locked targets on the largest of the Terran vessels and flew in. They never reached it. The moment their weapons charged, the Terran ship reacted. Not with guns, not with missiles. But with a single pulse of light. Fighters froze mid-flight. Their systems shut down. Gravity vanished. The ships shattered like glass. No debris remained. No. Pilots survived. The black ship never moved. Aboard one council warship, the captain screamed into the comms. We have no chance. They're decades, no, centuries ahead of. You? He turned to his crew. Shut it down. Pull back. But the fleet's jump engines failed. Then, the Terran ship above them began to shift. Panels opened. A drone emerged. It was small, black, and smooth like the one used centuries ago in the last Terran encounter. The drone broadcast a message. 3 words in every known galactic language. Who asked this? Then the drone exploded. No sound, no shockwave, just a flash of light, and the council ship was gone. Every surviving station received the same drone. Same message. Who asked this? The council knew. It was the signal. The distress beacon sent. By accident. Earth had read it. And Earth did not come to ask questions. It came to finish what was started. In deep space, near the old Terran border. Thousands of black ships now hovered in quiet formation. No flags. No politics. No names. Only one thing connected them, all their purpose. Forgotten law from ancient Earth history. If summoned in war, respond without delay. Do not ask why. Do not wait for orders. Just respond. And now, they had responded. Back on Mevara 3, a peaceful city world. Alarms began to ring. A Terran fleet was seen entering orbit. The sky turned dark. Shields went up. Fighters launched. Families hid underground. And then nothing happened. No attack. No transmission. Only waiting. The Terrans didn't destroy the city. Not yet, because they weren't sure. They were still deciding. That was worse. Counselor Lin watched the sky from a command tower. She whispered to herself, they aren't just ships. their judgment. Behind her, Elder Zarin replied, "And we just woke them up." The Black Fleet had arrived, and the galaxy unprepared, arrogant, and full of lies, had just remembered why Earth's silence was feared. Because when Earth speaks, stars burn, asterisk. The Council was desperate. Terran warships had appeared across 17 systems. Cities were locking down. Trade routes were frozen. Armies refused to launch. Every government had the same problem: humanity had arrived, but no one knew what to say. So they chose an old way. They chose a diplomat. Her name was Laura, a calm, silver-skinned alien from the Venari species. She was known for making peace between empires that had hated each other for centuries. Now, she stood in front of a council war room, staring at the image of the nearest Terran ship, dark, sharp, shaped like a blade in space. "It's silent," she said. "They're always silent," replied Elder Zarin, "until they're not. We've seen no attack yet." Zarin looked at her carefully. "Not yet," Laura nodded. "Then this is our last chance." A small diplomatic shuttle was prepared. No weapons, no escorts. Only Laura, and a single glowing peace seal recognized. Across the galaxy. The shuttle flew slowly toward the Terran warship. Above me, Vara-3. It sent a signal. "Peace envoy arriving. We request dialogue." There was no reply, but the warship opened a hangar bay. Laura's shuttle was pulled inside. She stepped onto a cold metal floor. The hangar was massive, clean, perfect, but empty. No crew. No signs of life. "Terran ship," she said aloud. "My name is Laura. I come in peace." Lights flickered on. A low hum echoed, and then a voice answered, not from a speaker, not from a person, but from the ship itself. Name recognized. Language accepted. Dialogue is not required. You are here. That is enough. Laura stood still. "I came to talk. The Council wishes to apologize." Apology accepted. She blinked. "It is?" "Acceptance does not change outcome. You sent the signal. That is action. Action has consequence." A large screen lit up on the far wall. It showed an image of playback of the original distress signal. It was marked as Emergency Type 7. Laura froze. Type 7 was the old code, the one from before the Terrans disappeared, the one created by Earth itself for total war. She whispered, "It was an accident. We do not decide purpose. We respond." And now the galaxy burns. The lights changed. Red lines traced the walls. A hologram appeared beside her, showing a map of the Council's territories. Each world where a drone had landed was marked in red. Each world that responded with aggression was marked in black. Laura gasped. There were dozens of them. "You've already attacked?" she asked. "No, we simply observed." Those who acted in fear answered their own question. "We only respond." She stepped forward, voice shaking. "There are billions of innocents out there. Civilians. Children. You must stop this." The voice paused, then replied, "You are correct. There are innocents, but so were ours." The screen changed. Again, now it showed something. Old a Terran outpost being destroyed by Council ships. No warning. No trial. The date? 4006 years ago. The file was labeled The First Betrayal. Laura covered her mouth. "You remembered this all this time?" "We remember everything. You buried it. You called it a myth. A story. We lived it. Now you call us again." Laura dropped to her knees. Tears filled her eyes. "I didn't know. You were not meant to. But you are here now. That is enough." The hangar lights dimmed. The voice fell silent. A single drone appeared before her, smooth and black, glowing slightly. It dropped a memory crystal at her feet. Give this to the Council. It is not peace. It is truth. You may still choose. The drone disappeared. The ship opened its hangar bay. Laura's shuttle was gently pushed out and sent back toward the Council base. When she returned, she stood before the grand chamber, her hands trembling as she placed the memory crystal on the podium. She looked up at them all. They don't want revenge. Everyone listened. They don't want power. She paused. They want us to see what we did and watch what hop. The Council received the memory crystal. They watched it in silence. It showed war, old war. From thousands of years ago. It showed Council fleets bombing human colonies. It showed Terran children running through flames. It showed Earth being erased from star charts. On purpose. And yet, after all that time, humanity did not come back with words. They came back with fire. The Terran fleet did not make announcements. No formal declarations. No open war. They simply moved, one by one. Systems that supported the original signal intentionally or by error began to disappear from Council. Maps. Not slowly. Instantly. In Sector 12. A Council world named Harnock tried to raise its shields when the Terran fleet appeared. They never finished powering up. A single Terran ship fired a thin red beam. It looked harmless, but when it touched the atmosphere, a planet's sky folded in on itself. Everything went quiet. Then the planet cracked in half. No explosion. No smoke. Just gone. In Sector 19, the government of Ulrak Prime launched all its fighters the moment the Terrans were detected. 1,500 ships. They surrounded the Terran ship from all sides. No warning was given. So Earth responded. Not with bullets or missiles. With a light pulse, the fighter systems shut off mid-flight. The pilots were ejected safely. Their ships were vaporized mid-air. The message was clear. We are not here to kill you. We are here to remind you we can. Across Council space, fear grew faster than the fire. Empires began blaming each other. You sent the signal. No, you reactivated the Terran code. You launched the first shot. Old friends turned enemies overnight. Allies refused to answer calls. Planets sealed their borders. Galactic unity, once strong, began to collapse. And the Terrans? They just watched. On a peaceful farming moon named Coda 3, the people woke to find a Terran ship hovering above their fields. No damage. No troops. Just silence. And a drone landed gently. It scanned the crops. Recorded the soil and left a single message carved into stone at the edge of the village. Your world is clean. You are not the fire. You are not the target. And the ship left. The galaxy was confused. Humans were not killing at random. They were following a pattern. Only the worlds that supported the call or tried to hide it were burned. Those who stood still, who refused to fire, were left alone. It was judgment. Selective. Precise. Terrifying. In Council meetings, chaos exploded. Where will they go next? How do they decide who burns? Why won't they talk to us anymore? Elder Zarin slammed his fist on the table. They don't need to talk. He pointed at the map, showing the advancing Terran fleets. They're not asking for anything. They're teaching us what happens when memory is treated like garbage. Counselor Lin whispered, "Then what do we do?" Zarin stared at her, eyes cold. "We don't do anything anymore. We watch." Back in deep space, a strange thing happened. A ship from a species that had never fought humans before, the Anafi, sent out a public message. They admitted helping modify the signal that summoned Earth. They begged forgiveness. The Terran fleet arrived. Hovered. Scanned. And then left. No attack. No damage. Only a message left behind on their space station wall. You told the truth. That was all we needed. Across the stars, Governments started collapsing, not from war, but from fear, because no one trusted anyone anymore. And the Terran ships didn't stop. From orbit, a Terran captain watched it all from behind a black visor. His crew few in number. All silent stood at their stations. One of them turned to him, double quote, "Sir, they are falling apart." He didn't smile. He didn't blink. He just said, "Let them. This is the fire they asked for. Now, let them burn in the smoke of their own lies." Asterisk pens when memory is ignored. No one spoke, no one blinked, because they all knew this wasn't war, that it was just as dressed in fire. Asterisk? The galaxy was burning, not from explosions alone, but from fear, secrets, and the weight of truth left too long in the dark. Terran ships moved like shadows across the stars. Some systems were spared. Others disappeared. But no one really understood. Why until an ancient ship, long thought lost, finally answered in the dead zone between Council space and old Terran borders. A forgotten science vessel named Solstice Drift sent out a beacon. The ship had vanished over 300 years ago. Now, without warning, it returned. Scanners detected it drifting slowly, badly damaged, missing sections, but still alive. A salvage crew from the neutral world of Jaratan responded. They boarded the vessel and found what no one expected. Terran relic. Deep in the ship's vault was a cracked memory core, glowing softly, still active. Inside was a copy of the original emergency signal protocol, the exact code format that had been accidentally triggered on station. RALO-7. The protocol was ancient, but intentional. Back on the capital world, the file was brought to Council Command. Technicians gathered. Scientists stared in silence. Laura, the diplomat who had survived the Terran meeting, stood in the middle of them. "What does it say?" She asked. No one answered. So she read it herself. The file was labeled Project Emberlight, Global Recall Contingency, Terran War Directive 09. The translation shook her to the core. If Earth is ever betrayed again, and if any remaining beacon detects mass aggression, this signal will trigger all Terran AI battle units across the stars to wake, regroup, and respond with maximum force. No Council response required. No diplomat. Shall be trusted. The signal is the judgment. Let memory carry the fire. Everyone in the chamber froze. The signal wasn't just a call for help. It was a revenge trigger. A ghost message from the past, built by Terran engineers long after the betrayal at EREVAN. It was their insurance. A dead man's switch for the entire galaxy. Counselor Ling whispered, "We didn't just poke a lion. We stepped on a trap that's waited thousands of years." And the worst part? They didn't mean to. General Varn entered the room, leaning heavily on his cane. "I was young when we first heard of Emberlight," he said. "We thought it was a myth. A story humans told each other to stay feared." He looked around at the silent leaders. It was real. Laura's voice cracked. "But the signal we sent, it was a mistake. We didn't mean to trigger it." Varn looked at her. "It doesn't matter. They designed it for mistakes." In the Terran fleet, high above a burning Council world, a captain received the new data from the Solstice Drift. One of the human officers read the decrypted logs. "Sir, they know now. They found Emberlight." The captain's face remained still. He looked out at the planet below. Already smoking, already broken. He said only, "Too late." But something began to shift. On some Terran ships, the lights dimmed. AI systems paused as if thinking. The protocol had awakened them. But now the question was being asked internally. Was the fire still required? Across the stars, civilian species began protesting outside their own governments. No more lies. Tell the truth about Earth. Forgive the call before it's too late. People everywhere began to realize the real enemy wasn't the Terrans dot. It was the old silence that buried their pain, not the lies, not the pride, not the betrayal. Back at Council HQ, Laura stepped forward with a message disc. "This was given to me by the Terran warship," she said. "They never asked us to stop the fire." She held the disc high. "They asked us to remember." That night, every planet across Council space received the same file from Solstice Drift. The full history. The betrayal, the erased treaties, the massacre at Eraven, Earth's silence. And Emberlight. The galaxy finally saw the truth, and it was too heavy to ignore. For the first time in thousands of years, truth spread fast the fire. It spread far enough. Over 40 council systems had gone dark. Cities turned to ash. Worlds silenced. Empires broken not by force, but by guilt, fear, and the ghosts of a forgotten war. Terran ships did not boast. They did not laugh. They hovered in silence, watching, waiting. But now the galaxy finally understood. This was not a war of destruction. It was a test of memory. And the test was nearly over. In the Grand Council Hall, a hush filled the room. Screens displayed the latest count. 47 Terran fleets, 612 ships, 0 losses, 0 replies to surrender. Laura, the diplomat, stood at the center. "We know the truth now," she said. "We see what Earth endured. We triggered a sleeping warning left behind by those we betrayed." Consular Lin's voice was weak. "Then how do we stop it?" Elder Zarin closed his eyes. "We ask for peace, but not with pride." He looked around the chamber. "We ask with truth." That night, every council world agreed on one message, one broadcast, a last play. It was short. And it was honest. Asterisk, asterisk, to the people of Earth. We did not mean to wake the fire, but we understand now. We erased your name. We buried your pain. And still, you returned not with demands, but with memories. You did not forget us. We forgot you. And for that, we ask not for forgiveness, but for an end. Asterisk, asterisk, the message was sent to all Terran fleets. No reply came. For hours, they remained still. Then, at dawn over the capital world, one Terran ship opened a channel. It was the same captain who had watched worlds burn without blinking. But this time, he spoke. His voice was calm, cold, clear. "You ask for an end. We came not because we wanted to. You called us. And our law is simple. Answer all cries, especially those laced in fire. Now you see that memory carries weight, and truth is heavier than war." He paused. Every council member leaned forward. Then he said, "You ask not for forgiveness. That is wise. But now you must prove your understanding. You must choose." A screen appeared across the chamber. 2 options. Erase the signal completely. Destroy IT from all networks. Accept silence. Keep IT active. And let the fire continue. The captain's voice returned. "No lies. No tricks. You have 10 hours. Choose as one." And the channel cut off. Panic hit some systems. Others froze. The debate raged. Destroy the signal now? But it's part of our backup network. Shut it down or we all die. One council member screamed, "Is this what we've become? A union of cowards afraid of an old code?" Zarin stood slowly. "No," he said. "We were cowards before the Terrans came. But today, we must be honest." He raised his hand. "I vote we erase it." One by one, the votes followed. Some shouted. Some cried. But the decision was made. Unanimous. The signal that once summoned the Terrans, the same signal built from betrayal, fear, and silence, was erased forever. The timer hit 0. No one spoke. All they could do was wait. And then something strange happened. The sky cleared. Every Terran ship across Council space turned at the same time. Engines ignited. They moved in perfect silence, not toward new targets, but away. In the grand chamber, a final message blinked onto every screen. From Earth, from a voice older than any record. You chose silence. That is wise. You may forget war. You may forget empires. But you will never forget us again. Because Earth never forgets. And memory is mercy. A message faded. The Terran fleets vanished, system by system, like shadows slipping beneath waves. No parades. No peace talks. No rewards. Just absence. And in that silence, peace returned, but not the old peace. This was a peace born of memory. A peace written not in ink, but in fire. On Mevara 3, children looked up at the stars again. One of them asked her teacher, "Will the humans come back?" The teacher smiled gently. "No, but what if we call them again?" She looked to the sky. And whispered, "Then pray we never make that mistake again." To the war. And far above, in orbit of countless systems, Terran ships waited, not for revenge, but for one last sign. Would the galaxy admit what it had done, or let itself be consumed by its own fire? The war was over, but there were no celebrations. No cheering. No victory, because the galaxy hadn't won. It had been spared. The Terran fleets vanished like mist under morning sun. No one saw where they went. No one followed. One by one, the black warships disappeared from orbit, leaving behind no sound, just the ashes of broken pride and erased lies. The stars, once filled with fire, now glowed with silence. But everyone knew that silence had changed. In the weeks that followed, new policies were passed across every council system. The signal protocol was outlawed. History archives were reopened. Schools across hundreds of worlds were ordered to teach the full truth about Earth, the betrayal, the Emberlight Code, and the fire it awakened. The words once forbidden were now required reading. Terrans remember everything, even when you try to forget. Elder Zarin retired days after the Terran fleets left. His last words to the council echoed through every chamber. We feared the humans because they were strong, but it was never their weapons that made them dangerous. It was their ability to stay silent until the moment mattered most. And then they speak, not with words, but with memory. On outer rim planets, small stone monuments appeared. No government ordered them. No one claimed credit. Each carried the same message. Asterisk, asterisk. Earth was called. Earth answered. Never again. Asterisk, asterisk. In deep space, a young exploration crew aboard the Distant. Ray found something strange in an uncharted system. An asteroid shaped like a broken blade, floating alone. Carved into it in Terran script. Do not awaken the dead. They carry fire in their bones. They didn't touch it. They marked the system as forbidden and left in silence. Back on Mevara 3, the children no longer played war games with fake Terran ships. Instead, they lit candles and whispered names of the planets that were lost. Because, even though Earth had stopped, the fire had marked them. The council remained, but its voice changed. Pride was gone. Fear remained, but it was no longer hollow. Now it was shaped by respect. Laura, the diplomat who met the Terrans face to face, lived in a quiet dome far from politics. Reporters tried to find her, hoping for interviews or secrets. She only gave one message. She stood before the camera, calm, her voice clear. They didn't want revenge. They didn't want power. They wanted us to look in the mirror, and we saw what we are, and what they became without us. She turned away, and never appeared in public again. Years later, a strange transmission reached the edge. Of council space. No origin. No signal. Strength. Just sound. A human voice. Old, tired, strong. You remembered. That is enough. No one could trace it. No one could reply. But no one needed to, because the message wasn't for conversation. It was the last word. Now. Across the galaxy, new laws were written not in ink, but in fearful respect. Every species, every empire learned the same lesson. Never send a call you don't understand. Never wake what was meant to sleep. Never test the patience of a silent people. And never, ever, forget Earth. In the end, the galaxy wasn't ruled by humans. It was changed by them, not by bullets, not by battles, but by the weight of memory. The kind that burns louder than any war. And so the stars remained quiet. Not because peace was strong, but because humanity had walked away once more. And this time, everyone remembered why. Asterisk.